Welcome to this edition of Smile for Survival, Life Beyond Cancer. Today I'm going to talk about the release from the hospital and the arrival at the house and the blood, the call for the ambulance, and then I'm going to discuss the support we got from the neighbors. They were essential to our ability to recover. Then I'm going to go into the campaign and the adjustments that we're going to make. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So we got a lot to cover here, so let's go ahead and get started. So they released me from the hospital, and Kathy put me in the truck and brought me home. It was a spring day and kind of warm outside, and the neighbor kids were out playing, and John, our neighbor, was working in the yard. When we got into the driveway, I noticed that my truck, which had been sitting for the last week, had a low tire. So I decided that I was going to put some air in that. Now here I was, just released from the hospital, 8 days of surgery. Had a scar, had stitches going down my neck. I had a tube coming out my nose that I'm supposed to be fed through. And I go into the house and go into the garage and pull out the air compressor and try to put air in the tire. When I bent down to put the air in, something happened where the air came out of my throat, and I stood up. A weird feeling had been gone in here. So as I walked towards the front door, all of a sudden blood was coming out of my mouth, and I couldn't figure out what it was. What proceeded after that was a couple of phone calls to the surgeon. Kathy had told him what was going on and the amount of blood that was coming out of my mouth. And he decided to go ahead and make the call for an ambulance. So the call was made, and I was standing on the front porch just, spitting out the blood, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was kind of scary. So what had happened is I reached in there, and I could feel the tube, and I could feel there was a little flap of skin in my throat. And so I kind of pushed it down a little bit, and then swallowed and swallowed and swallowed, and finally it went down and the bleeding stopped. When the ambulance got here, they came to me. They came up to the porch where I was standing and checked me out, and the bleeding had stopped. And so at that point, I looked up, and there was all the neighbor kids kind of standing around the yard, and John, our neighbor, was standing over by the truck, and they were all kind of in a scared mood. I remember Tristan and Ruben were there, and I think it was the first time they had seen me since I got out of the hospital, or since I was in the hospital. And so one of the neighbors wanted to take them and reassure them that I was okay, and took them off to In-N-Out Burger for a hamburger. And that was good because it kind of distracted from what was going on with me. Their father just came from the hospital, had this stitches coming down his neck, had a tube come out of his nose, and was spitting up blood in the driveway. And it wasn't good for Tristan and Ruben. So there was a time there where the neighbors really stepped up, and I want to thank them for doing that. So I want to talk about the support we got from the neighbors. Now, if you can imagine, I was in the hospital for 8 days. Kathy was working in the emergency room. She was juggling transportation for the boys to and from school. And she had little time to prepare a meal for them. And the neighbors got together, and they made a list of which day of the week they would cook, so that every day around 5 o'clock there was a meal for the boys to eat, or for Kathy to eat when she was either going to or from the hospital. Now, I don't know where you live at, but where I live, that was a pretty big deal. I mean, the support you get in the neighborhood is truly part of your recovery from cancer treatment. Okay, here's an update on the campaign that we're doing on Indiegogo. Like I said before, I'm a one-man show. I create the graphics, create the videos, I edit it, I uploaded it. I do everything, and yeah, I spend a lot of time, one-man show, so it evolves. The graphics are getting better, the video editing's getting better, and now the perks are going to get better on the Indiegogo campaign. One of the things we're going to be doing is the selfie campaign, and that'll start on November 15th. So in the future videos, I'll be talking about that. My name is Ruben. I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor.